Hi, it's Michael Caputo again for another video episode of Still Standing. You can catch me on stillstandingpodcast.com. There's audio, video, and some blog posts there that you can catch up on. Put them up every week, even this week, Christmas week. I know every other podcaster in America is taking the week off, but not us here at Still Standing. You got that going for you, which is nice. Well, who else is working this week but President Trump? I love the way people are trolling him, even during Christmas week. He decided to go ahead and put the extra time in as the government shut down, working harder than anybody else in Washington again, and therefore all the haters couldn't take any time off either. I loved it. I mean, every tweet he put up there is haters waiting for him. They must have notifications set so when the president tweets, they have the opportunity to come out there and hate on him all they can. It's really quite something. You see the people in the intellectual left and you know, the intellectual right, even the establishment Washington swamp monsters out there, you know, wringing their hands over General Mattis resigning. Of course, I love that General Mattis said he would resign, but he'd stick around and deign us with his presence until the end of February. And Donald Trump, true to form, said, nah, you can get out of here, which is fine as far as I'm concerned. The Pentagon will work fine without him. He'll replace him with somebody better. I love General Mattis. He is fine. You know, I liked the mad dog persona. I loved his quotableness. But frankly, he worked for Hillary Clinton before he worked for Donald Trump. He was somebody, a neocon, wanted to get us involved in never-ending wars in the Middle East. He was never going to pull us out of Syria without some kind of argument. He was never going to get us out of Afghanistan without probably resigning. If we ever wanted to pull our troops out of the Middle East, we were destined to have Secretary Mattis resign. So you see all these people, the Weekly Standard crowd, well, let's say the late Weekly Standard crowd, out there wringing their hands over General Mattis leaving and how they're scared now, going into the holidays fearful. God, the hand-wringing, you can almost hear it all the way out here in Western New York. It's amazing. But the whole idea of the shutdown, the government shutdown, it's something I totally and completely support. Tried to say so last week Friday on CNN on Anderson Cooper, and they didn't quite get it there. Old Charlie Dent, former congressman, Republican congressman from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I don't really know if he gets it. It was interesting when he was serving in Congress, he was kind of begrudgingly supportive of the president, but now that he's out, he resigned. Actually didn't resign. He decided not to run for re-election. A really good guy, somebody I respect a lot. Now that he's free of the need to cooperate with the president on behalf of his constituents, he's throwing punches at the president just as much as any leftist anti-Trumper is. I think Charlie's joined the Never-Trumpers set. But these folks who just couldn't imagine that the president would close down the government over his policy prescription for a wall on the southern border, I called them bipartisan government fetishists. I actually said it twice in the CNN interview. I didn't think they got it the first time, but the second time they said, so bipartisanship is a fetish? I said, no. You are bipartisan government fetishists. People from the left and the right, from the Republican and the Democratic Party, who think that government is the answer for everything. It's not. People here in Western New York don't think government is the answer for everything. People in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania don't think government's the answer for everything. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania has suffered just as much as Buffalo, New York has under the swamp, under the establishment in Washington, the terrible trade deals, and sending all of our manufacturing jobs from Bethlehem and Buffalo and Detroit and Toledo and Cleveland, sending them all overseas. Bipartisan government fetishists. People from both parties who have a fetish for government. Those are the people who oppose the government shutdown. Listen, I worked in Washington. I was there long enough. I know a lot of people in Washington. I know what these government shutdowns are. They're nothing. Our government needs to be cut by 30% right now, today. We need to cut 30% of the workforce in the federal government. The fact that a sizable number, upwards of 25, 30%, are going to be furloughed, sent home with pay to just be paid later, And we're supposed to be, upset about this. We're supposed to be, screaming at the top of our lungs, get our government open, for God's sake, keep it closed. They do more damage when they're working than when they're not, especially the United States Congress. But we can't get, we got our wall funding in the House, thank God, great guys, every man and woman in the House on the Republican side, thank you for what you've done. Congratulations for doing your job. I'm very proud of the House of Representatives under Paul Ryan. Thank you, Paul Ryan, for leading that vote. I know people don't like Paul Ryan, but I like Paul. But the Senate, Leader McConnell, he can't seem to come together, get enough votes to get the continuing resolution passed with the wall funding in there. And Chuck Schumer, my own New York State Senator, is leading the charge to keep the borders open on the border with Mexico. The open borders Democrats in the Senate. Of course, they're calling it the Trump shutdown, and the Republican side is calling it the Schumer shutdown. I'm telling you something. I don't care who's responsible for this shutdown. I don't think America cares who's responsible for this shutdown. Because you know what? Our Christmases didn't change at all. And the Christmases of all those federal employees who went home early and had more time off, their Christmases were better. I don't care who you are and what you're saying about it. The idea that somehow someone is suffering under the government shutdown, you're going to have to look really hard for that person. I'm sure somebody is. I'm sure somebody couldn't pick up a check when they needed it, and they weren't able to get little Johnny, the toy truck that they were planning for. I'm sure the establishment media will find little Johnny and do the story on that. But we need a wall. 75% of the opioids that are killing people up here in upstate New York and upstate Pennsylvania and the state of Ohio and West Virginia, 75% of those opioids, Mexican oxy, fentanyl coming through the southern, 75% comes across the southern border. Of course, a lot of that stuff comes through the mail as well, off the dark web, and a lot of the fentanyl from China. But 75% of the opioids that are killing people in upstate New York come across the southern border. Shut it down. Shut down the government until we get a wall. We need a border wall in the area between the United States and Mexico. We need it. The Border Patrol Association did a poll. 89% of Border Patrol officers want a wall. Give them a wall. Stop the flow of drugs across the border. Forget for a second all the illegals who are coming across the border, breaking the law, trying to live in the United States. They shouldn't. We need to stop them as well. I know we're not going to stop all those drugs that come across the border, but just stop 25% of it. Maybe 25% of the kids, parents, that are dying in upstate New York, 25% less would die. Give me a wall, or shut down the government, and keep it shut down, President Trump. Keep it shut down. As far as I'm concerned, President Trump, don't open that up until you get every nickel of the money you want for the wall. And by the way, congratulations to the veteran, Mr. Cole Faggy, who is running the GoFundMe. That GoFundMe for the wall, I know it's not going to fund much. It's right now, I think it's pushing $20 million. I know it's not going to pay for a lot. It'll pay for a mile. But what it did was send a message to Donald Trump that there are hundreds of thousands of his supporters who are willing to put their money where their mouth is, and they back him 100%. As he stands strong and keeps the government shut down until he gets the wall funding we need. I know the Democrats are going to wear this in the end. They're for open borders, and we are not. But I really don't care who wears it, who owns it. Trump shut down, Schumer shut down. Keep it shut down. Stop this drug, the flow of these drugs that are coming up here and killing the people, young people, older people, the 2.5 million addicts in the United States who are relying upon Mexican oxy. I'm just disgusted by it all. And the fact that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats want to keep that flow of opioids coming across the border just makes me mad. Anyway, you got me during Christmas week, and I'll do it again next week, even though it's going to be New Year's. Thanks a lot for tuning in to Still Standing. Remember, stillstandingpodcast.com for my audio podcast, the video episodes, some blog posts now and then, stillstandingpodcast.com. It's Michael Caputo. I hope you're having a great holiday.